So we're also talking about this. So Sitch posted this. You should definitely watch them. Adam and Sitch. It's a good show on YouTube. Very, very long form podcast content. I really enjoy listening to it. Like 8-hour streams. I could definitely get down with some of these dudes. I would have to be playing video games in the background, but it's one of those things. With all of that being said, this is what the president quoted from Donald Trump on Truth Social. With all that being said, there's no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas, cities, and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along and has to be dealt with differently. Though through banking or secondary sanctions, too many people are dying. Oh man, it really is funny how different a few weeks can make it, right? Because we were all riding high on the Trump tariffs. Everybody was screaming about all the crazy shit, and then what happens? Trump fucking bitches out. And I really thought he would pivot, he'll turn on Putin too a lot quicker than this, because he made every single effort to allow that man to save face and have like an off ramp for peace that would make him look relatively strong and not just a weak bitch when if and when he capitulates and or loses. And it almost, I don't really know. It's hard for me to parse through all of the nonsense, especially with everybody screaming about different theories that they have. Well, to be fair, most people don't scream about theories. This is the problem I have with a lot of people and what they think's going on, is that a lot of times they're mind reading. Right? They think they know a person, and they don't. And so they think they can know what's going on in their head when they don't know that person at all. And so they read their mind to interpret their actions to be something that they probably aren't. So with this, like I said, I really thought he would heel turn quicker due to the fact that he did all of that stuff to allow Putin to come to the table and save face at the same time. And what I really hope comes out of this is that Trump does what Trump should be doing, and he should be raging about the fact that Vladimir is disrespecting him to his face directly. Maybe he is, but he's still trying to do the I want to be a peacemaker thing, because it's entirely possible that's what he's doing. If you're on blue team, you think that's crazy nonsense. If you're on red team, you'll obviously probably somewhat agree with me. But the thing about it is like, I don't think he's doing that. I said I think it's possible. That doesn't mean he is doing it. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to parse through all the possible reasons why a thing could be a thing and all the possible outcomes that could come from all of those different things based on this one nexus of interaction with the universe, right? The one nexus of interaction is the Ukraine war and the discussions between Putin and Trump. And so what I really hope comes out of this is that this is Trump giving his base meat. Like him trying to be the peacemaker, allowing Vladimir to save face, was him trying to do what his base wanted and just make fucking peace. Right? Because everybody in his base wants the fucking war just to be fucking over, so we don't have to fucking deal with it no more. Right? We don't want to be sending them money or whatever the fuck it is we're doing for them. Now, I disagree with that, but that's what they want. And I hope that what he's doing is he's showing his base that he tried, and that he's easing them on. It's like, what does Scott Adams say? It's the cat on the roof. When your cat is missing, you tell the kids, oh, the cat is on the roof because the cat died, got hit by a car or something like that, and you don't want to tell them that yet. So you give him a little while to let it sink in. Oh, he's on the roof. He'll be fine. Oh, and then he he ran off to a field over there. Yeah, he might be back in a little while. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a couple days. It's going to be good. And then you finally tell them, and then they've already separated, that kind of thing. I think that's what he might be doing. Perhaps. That he's trying to, pace and lead? Is that it? It's a persuasion technique where you agree with someone, and then you slowly rhetorically take them more to your side, and they agree with you on the first thing, and then you take them to the next thing that they probably also agree with, but less so than you do, right? And then you keep going along that path until they arrive at your position, and then they can actually think about what they're fucking talking about, rather than just automatically rejecting it because it's the opposite of what because they think it's the opposite of what they think. And I love how he put banking and secondary sanctions in quotation marks. Because what I really hope, because I think he's doing that to emphasize, like, this shit didn't work before. It's still not working. Why the fuck would we do this again? So what I hope is going to come out of this is that Donald Trump is going to go fucking full hog behind Ukraine. That's what I'm hoping. And that his base will be able to follow him there because we tried. Look, you guys all wanted us to end the war. I fucking tried. You saw me. You saw me do everything I could. I gave him so much grace, so much place, but he disrespected us. He disrespected America. Can we allow him to do that? Can we do that? And then basically, it would probably give Trump the ability to do what he wants to do without his base like screaming bloody murder too much. Because they still will. Because of course they will. Because there are partisan hacks and probably Russian influence individuals. That would, like, everybody's going to disagree with you no matter what you do. You just have to pick and choose which ones you roll with. And that's what I hope comes out of this, because it's one of those things that's like, once the question of what was going on was framed correctly in my mind, especially about the United States signing a treaty to ensure the sovereignty of Ukraine, I was far more on board with sending them aid. Now, I was way more on board with putting people like Rand Paul in charge of all the money so that we can see where it's going. That would be great. So we can make sure the weapons aren't being sold on the black market that we're sending them. That any of the actual money that we're sending is actually being spent on the things it needs to be spent on instead of lining someone's fucking yacht with gold. So that was for the vast majority of the Ukraine thing. My thing has been, where's the money going? What's it being used for? Because if we can account for it, then I'm pretty much okay with it. Like, if we're sending them Stinger fucking missiles and they're fucking using them, look, we got 100 fucking tank kills with this many missiles. Boom, that's your money at work. We just destroyed this much Russian armor. Okay, at least I know the money's going somewhere where it's being useful, right? And is it at the least hurting the people that I probably don't like, based on, all that nonsense. And I really hope that what this does is it allows Trump to do a heel turn to be full on fuck Russia. I hope that's where he goes, because if he doesn't, like, here's the thing: if he doesn't do the heel turn here, it does look more and more like he is either super soft on Russia for some fucking reason, or he's bought off, or they've got some kind of dirt on him. He's being blackmailed. There's any number of possibilities that could cause him to be soft on them. But it absolutely is looking that way if he doesn't heel turn off this. It looks like that's the direction he's going. He's going very fucking slow with it. And I imagine that might be due to the fact that he's trying to actually get a peace accord without too much bullshit. I don't know. And here's PSA Sitch. Better late than never. Yeah, that's the way it is, right? You always could have done it sooner, right? Hope his underlings don't successfully sabotage/worm tongue him the second he gets back to the White House. Yeah, that unfortunately has happened before. I wonder now what could possibly be used to successfully blackmail someone that is 78 and I could fall over at any moment of the day. Family. Of course. Maybe they got something on his son. Maybe they got something on his wife. There's any number of things where it's like, it could destroy his legacy, and he cares a lot about that. He does. Because one of his main faults is that it does appear that he is a very vain man. And it's not very fair to say that he could fall over every moment of the day or at any moment of the day, because, it's not like he's, on his deathbed, right? For his age, he is quite active compared to the vast majority of people I know his age. Right? 20 years ago, my grandmother was his age, and she could barely do normal house stuff, and she didn't need a walker, but she often used a cane. Was slow to walk, didn't walk very far. that kind of stuff. And now she barely walks at all. So one of those things, one of the reasons I want to work out is so when I do get that old, I will not be dependent upon others just to be able to move around and do normal things. Then maybe I underestimate his health. Yeah. Like, you got to realize, dude, like, even Biden with his dementia shit is still in pretty good shape for a man his age. He's able to drive a car. We saw him do that. He's able to ride a bicycle. Yeah, I know he fell over, but he still was able to ride the goddamn thing. Like, Jesus Christ. Have you as an adult never fallen off a bicycle? Oh, no? Well, then good for you, because a lot of people fucking do. Like, it's literally a mantra of motorcycle riders. When you get your first bike, you're going to drop it. It's when, not if. When. Like, what the fuck are we doing here, right? So, for their age, they are pretty healthy. And, you know, being rich will do that for you, I guess. Because you have better access to healthcare, better access to exercise, all that kind of stuff, right? Not that Trump looks like he exercises, other than fucking golf. I haven't fallen off a bicycle in like 20 years because I haven't been on one for that time. Yeah, exactly. But if you did bike all the time, there are occasions where you'd fall off, right? And to be fair to Biden, it looked like he was just like he was trying to take his foot. His pedal had those like hooks where you put your feet in, and it looks like he tried to pull his foot out and take it off, and he didn't pull it out far enough, and it caught, and he leaned over on that foot to set it down, and that's when he fell over. And I mean, it's like shit like that happens, but because he like kept doing it and he kept slipping and falling, it's just like, yeah, it was funny. It really was. Him falling up the stairs on Air Force One was just, that was something else, man. That was something else. Okay, so this is the judge that got arrested. I'm pretty sure that's her. As you can see, Krasentine right here, because he's such a dickhead. So are we going to start arresting Tyson chicken plant managers, Midwest farmers, for helping undocumented immigrants attain employment and evade arrest?
Fucking based. There are times in civilization when we must take extreme measures. Today, my friends, is that day.
Okay, enough being an idiot. Wait, no, that's my entire stream. Waffles for everybody. So, the funny thing that he's getting at is one of the biggest problems I have with immigration enforcement as a whole. We spend so much money to go after these immigrants, right? And yet, when Tyson Chicken literally reports all of their immigrant workers to ICE so they don't have to pay them, they barely get off with a fine. They should have closed that entire fucking factory down for like a month and been like, guess you ain't making money now, are you, asshole? Like, the government needs to fuck these people. That's what they're there for. That's the whole goddamn point. Yes, Tyson Chicken and Midwest farmers who hire undocumented immigrants to and evade arrest. Fucking right, you better arrest them. They need to go to fucking jail today. Right, meow. Meow. Like it's like he definitely lives in another fucking reality. Krasenstein does, because if he understood anything about Red Team, he would know that a good portion of the base, I would say at least 75 to 80% of Trump's base, if not 100% of his base, and like a good 60 to 80% of Republicans in general, or Red Team in general, want exactly this. And the reason they don't get it is because of the small portion of Red Team that is like pro big business and doesn't want to fuck these guys, and the other party who also doesn't want to fuck them because they're also pro big business. Not all of the other party, not all of Blue Team, right? Obviously, it's a small faction, but it's a big enough total. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a big enough block of politicians that will protect these guys that see them evade justice when they should absolutely evade. Like, who are the hiring managers? Who hired these people? Huh? Who are the hiring managers? Those guys need to be charged and go to jail. Who are the people that called ICE to report them? We need to get those people. We need to find out how much they knew and if they need to be punished as well. I want the CEO in Congress testifying as to why the fuck he hired 800 illegal fucking aliens and then had one of his motherfuckers report them to ICE so they could deport it so they could save a couple grand. What the fuck? What the fuck? And you want to know something? That's exactly what I voted for. This right here. This right here is what I want. Now, I will say the Midwest farmers, I'm a little bit more lenient because like some of the farms are small family farms, right? Blah, 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 blah. You can make excuses all you want. They should still be punished. But I can look more favorably upon small farms, not big ones, not ones like they're run by Tyson. No, not those fuckers. Not the industrial farms. No. The small farms where they've got like a dozen hands and they literally just hire workers for day pay, right? I think that's still technically legal for farm work. So that really doesn't bother me all that much. They're doing what they should do. But Tyson, like they're required by law to make sure that every person that is employed with them is not an illegal immigrant. I want to say that again. They are required by law to ensure that the people they hire are not illegal immigrants, that they are allowed to work in the United States. So what this means is they either forged those papers or every single one of those people working in there had a social security number from someone else. So that's identity theft. So not only is Tyson Chicken helping abusing illegal migrants by by hiring them and not paying them, they're also what's the word? They also know that they're committing identity theft and social security fraud. They know they're doing these things. And they are accomplices to it because they know and don't tell. They only told once they worked for a month or two, and then they didn't want to pay them. That's when they told. But they didn't tell about the Social Security fraud. No. Oh, they're just illegals. Come arrest them and deport them. Oh, my goodness. Like I said, like this is the one thing that Asmongold and I 100% agree on. I bring him up a lot because he's a big cultural thing at the moment. But the reason I say this is because they're all, obviously, I hate to have to preface everything. Well, I don't agree with everything somebody says. Of course, I don't agree with everything someone else says because we're different people. So anybody who thinks that is a fucking moron, and I'm going to say that for the record. If I say something and you think that therefore I agree with everything that person says when I quote them or when I bring them up, then you are a fucking idiot and you should get off the internet because we do not need your type of brain rot. Right? Your type of idiocy will destroy humanity. You need to go play with crayons. Please don't eat them. Okay, now that I've told all the idiots what to do, let's talk real. Fuck, I forgot what I was talking about. God damn it. Oh, that's what it was. One of the things that I agree with him like 100%, no memes, no nothing, is that how you stop shit like this is unmitigated, 100%, unrelenting personal accountability. The moment you start holding people in these companies personally accountable for these things, it will stop. Nobody wants to go to fucking jail because Tyson told them to hire illegal aliens. Nobody wants to do that. Oh, but they could find the company and, it'll be fine. No, fuck that. Fuck that. I want the company fined. I want the people that hired them. I want the people that hired them to be investigated. I want the people that ran the fucking paperwork to be investigated to see where the fuck they got all these fucking numbers and how the fuck they didn't know that at least half of them had stolen social security numbers. Because it's like one of these things, dude. If you've got 800 people working for you and half of them are Latino and can barely speak English, but they have Anglo-Saxon fucking names, that is a big, big red flag, bro. Is it like there obviously could be a dude from Mexico who's fucking named fucking, Michael Heider, right? Which is an Anglo-Saxon and German name. That's me. That's my last name. And it's entirely possible. And you investigate and you find it's cool, right? No big deal. But come the fuck on, dude. Like the vast majority of people from that part of the world do not have Anglo-Saxon names, right? Unless they've like immigrated to like the United States or Europe or something like that, and they've like integrated into the culture. I'm here to slander Trump. You are not allowed to slander. And no, you can't post a link. You have to ask for permission. So you can't slander anybody. If you want to talk about how bad Trump is, that's fine. I don't care. But that doesn't mean that you can just like say random dumb shit. That's not true. I would prefer if you didn't do that, please. Okay, so personal accountability is how you stop this shit. The CEO needs to be held personally accountable. The hiring managers need to be personally accountable. Whoever ran the I-10 paperwork, that's the stuff that verifies that you're a citizen, they need to be held accountable. These people need to be investigated. They need to understand how much that we need to understand how much they knew, when they knew it, and how much we can fuck them for it. Because somebody at Tyson Chicken knew they were hiring illegals. Somebody knew. We need to find out who the fuck that was. Fucking put them all in hot boxes, get them to throw each other under the bus, and we'll find out the truth. We'll absolutely find out the truth. And the fact that this still hasn't happened is something that like makes me so fucking angry. Because this is what, like, it's just like in New York, was it Cash Jordan? He had that video about New York employers. Like the small shops and stuff were complaining that all of their employees weren't showing up to work, right? Because they were afraid of immigration. So if all of your employees are afraid to show up to work because of ICE, wouldn't that imply that you know that your employees are illegal migrants, right? So, my question, why are these places not being held to account? That's what I want to know. Why are they not being investigated for immigration fraud, for identity theft, for any of the number of things that are required to make this? Yeah, those need to be held accountable. I don't agree with how Trump is handling the UK or war Russia. I agree. I think it's like I said this. I said this earlier, and I'll just state it again for the record because we're on something a little different. But I mean, it's we're talking about the administration doing shit, so whatever. It's this video right here. This video right here. And in this video, he's like, all of these people are reporting that their employees are not showing up for work. Why are they not being held accountable? Why? By the way, this was a month ago. You can check it out on his channel, Cash Jordan. He is, I want to say, very biased toward deporting illegals and keeping the border secure. You could just tell by the language he uses. So fair enough, but I'll just give you that. But yeah, the Trump. What he's doing with with Russia is I literally just talked about this. The heel turn that he is doing with let me rephrase. He has given Putin so much grace for an off ramp so he can save face, so that he can come to the table and not look like he lost, right? That's what it feels like Trump has been trying to do. And this seems like he's starting to turn heel on that so that his base will follow him, right? Since Zelensky agreed to a full ceasefire? Yes. Well, okay. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. He's holding a gun against Zelensky for the wrong reasons. Okay, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that Vladimir Putin will not come to the table if he's going to lose. If he has to go back to his people with his hat in his hand as a loser, not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. He's just going to keep going until it either kills him or destroys Russia. And so I think what Trump is trying to do, since he gave him the ability to save face and he hasn't taken it and has been actively disrespecting him to his face by doing shit like this, right? What was it? shooting missiles into civilian areas, cities and towns over the last few days, and the fact that he's ignored almost every overture that Trump has made. He immediately violated the, like, what was it? It was called, it was a ceasefire, but it was like conditional, or like, you know, they were trying it out or something like that. They almost immediately violated it. And so all this is doing is this disrespecting Trump. Now, if you thought Trump was full ego and that's all he was, and anybody disrespects him gets the hammer, this is proof against that. Or excuse me, this is evidence against that statement. What it actually shows you is that Trump may actually use his ego as a weapon. Because what this does is, I think what he's trying to do with shit like this, right, is he's trying to make his base follow him to fuck Russia. That's what I think is going on. Now, I may be wrong. Absolutely. There are many possibilities. He could just be being a little bitch and is trying to save face as much as possible. Also true. It could also be both of those things. And there could be many other permutations that are affecting this that I don't understand. And so it could be many other things. But what I think he's trying to do is he's trying to convince his base to turn with him using a technique called pace and lead, where where what you do is you do something you do something that someone agrees with, right? So they get to agree with you, and they're nodding along, and then slowly, ever so slowly, you walk slowly toward where you're going. So you've paced them, so you've agreed with them, and now you lead them to where you want them to go. And I think that may be what he's trying to do. At least that's what this kind of looks like, because he's essentially banking and secondary sanctions. The reason I think he's using quotation marks is because that hasn't worked yet. So it's not going to work. Right? And that's why there's a question mark. So, what I hope comes out of this, that would be a smart move. I don't have a lot of trust in Trump, though, after his tariff disaster. Fair enough. Absolutely, 100%. I can understand that. I also have reservations about the tariff fiasco, because, you know, a lot of the stuff that I was hoping would come out of it did not, right? And he basically flopped like a fish. We still have to see how it's going to end up working out in the end, but it's not looking good. But so far as getting because like a lot of Trump's base and a lot of red team right now are anti-Ukraine war. And some of the factions are because it's a waste of money. Some of the factions are it's not our fight. And some of the factions are literally pro-Russia. Or let me rephrase. There's two different factions of pro-Russia. And those are people who are looking at Russia not as a country, but like as a power that has been antagonized by the West for so long that they're finally doing something about it. And what the fuck is that? Why the fuck are we even bothering? Right? We kind of started this, so to just fuck off and let them do whatever the fuck they want. And then there's the other part that is pro-Russia, that is literally pro-Russia, and that Russia should, you know, take over all of Europe and all this other dumb shit, right? Patriots he just wants Patriot air defense missiles or the license to build them. I'm not sure how he's withholding these. Probably because of his base, most likely. Because what happens if Trump goes full on, I'm gonna back Zelensky 100%, we're gonna give him all the money. His base is gonna fucking scream bloody murder, and what's gonna happen during the midterms is the Republicans are gonna fucking lose in a landslide. That's what's gonna happen. Because red team will just stay home, right? And so I think what he's trying to do with this is he's trying to pivot himself, and he's trying to drag his fucking base along with him. Because think about it like this. You're part of Trump's base, okay? You don't want to be involved in the Ukraine war. You want it to end. You don't want money going there. But your man, your savior, the Trump-volupficus himself, has done everything in his persuasion power that the only person who could do more is fucking God to get fucking Putin to stop fucking doing his stupid shit, right? And then you get from the Trump-volupficus, you start hearing these words about, oh man, you know, I tried, but I think there's definitely something different about this, and I might need to do it a different way. And then you pseudo mock banking and secondary sanctions, because we've been doing that fucking forever and they haven't worked, right? And so it might be that he's trying to pace his entire base and lead them he's trying to lead his entire base to the point where they've disrespected America, they're disrespecting you by not coming to the table, because I've tried so hard. I've tried to let him save face. I've tried to let him get a W, and he doesn't fucking want it. He just wants to be a bitch. If Trump can convince his base to support the war in Ukraine, they're fucked. Russia's fucked. Because Because when you get red team on board with war, oh boy. Whoo! I mean, do we remember Afghanistan and Iraq? Like it's oh yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It'll be juicy. And so I don't know the intricacies of what's going on. I don't know any of that. I'm trying to look at the field of what we would consider a chessboard and see where the moves might go next based on the things we know now and the things we know in the past, right? And so it could be that Trump is just flailing wildly like an idiot, but how many times has he done something that looked astronomically stupid to so many people and instead did a backflip or slipped on a banana and did a backflip and landed perfectly? Like, it's actually happened quite a few times. And a lot of it is because I think Trump does a lot of like shooting from the hip, like with his gut, with gut feeling, which is why he's been so successful and had so many disasters, is because his gut's not always right? And so he doesn't really have so it feels like he doesn't really have a procedure that he rolls through like I would, like a fucking autistic nerd that I am, but it just kind of like vibes it through, right? I really do feel like that's what he's doing. And I think that he may be trying to get the Republican and the red team on board with just being like, fuck Russia. Go, Team America, fuck yeah, let's fuck them up. Because if it continues and now they're disrespecting Trump, right? And Trump's base is very fervent in the fact that you do not disrespect the American president, right? You got to remember this. This is red team we're talking about. So his base is a good part of red team. It's entirely possible that he could convince them to go anti-Russia, a good portion of them to go anti-Russia and support Ukraine, not just in money, but in sending them just fucking everything. Oh, you want drone weapons? Let's do drone weapons. Ukraine wants to manufacture drones? Fuck yeah, let's let them do it. It'll be the drone manufacturing capital of the goddamn world, and we'll build it for them. And then we'll just get a fat discount for our military drones, right? China's weird though, since a few weeks those effects will have a huge local stores, etc. Yes, I know. Like I said, it's one of those things that's going to have to kind of play out, just like it was with COVID when we locked down. And then one of the reasons we locked down is because we did think, for the most part, that COVID could have been a civilizational leveling disaster, right? Not necessarily enough to kill off the human race, but enough to at least topple a few of our civilizations if the infrastructure ground to a halt. But it didn't. It was resilient. And we know it's resilient now. And we found ways to make it more resilient than it used to be. Had these lockdowns too. Yeah, exactly. And so you have this, like, one of the things that people tend to forget about, this is something Douglas Murray brought up in his Joe Rogan podcast, is the fog of war, right? When you're looking at people in the past and the decisions that they make, the thing you're forgetting, the thing that most people don't even think about, is the fog that exists around what you're doing, because you don't have perfect information. It's not it's not like an RTS where you have perfect information over your own, over everything else that you're doing, let alone your enemy, right? So there's a lot of haze around what's going to happen in the future. You don't really know. You don't know if these people that you're talking to are lying to your face or if they're actually being genuine, and you kind of just got to go with what you feel. There's a lot of things in life like that. And in fact, most of our lives are like that every day. It's just most people forget about it when they're thinking about big historical events. Like, how could you not know that Hitler was going to keep going, right? How could you not know that if you had actually sent troops to oppose him, he would have stopped? How could you not know? Well, it's because they fucking didn't, right? When you look at the past and you find yourself saying, how could they have not known this? You are asking the wrong questions. You are showing ignorance. That's what it is. What did I miss? A lot. I've been ranting a while. So anyway. So yeah. And again, this is the thing. It's like, it could be he's being a bitch, and he realizes that Putin is slapping him around. But you got to remember, how many times has the media said that he's all ego? If you insult Trump, blah, 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 he'll just fucking go crazy and all this other stuff, right? And they've even proven it on occasion during like the debate between, was it Biden or was it Kamala? No, it was Kamala Harris. Kamala. Where she goaded him into reacting badly to a question, right? Because she insulted him. So if Vladimir Putin has been insulting Trump this entire time and he's not going crazy, what's going on? It could be that he is, in fact, bought by Russia in some form or fashion through blackmail or some other nonsense. They could have something over him, like something for his family, something to taint his legacy, any of number of those things, and that's why he's being so soft. Or he's an idiot. Or he is trying to do what I said he's doing, and he tried to get the peace as quickly as possible, as easily as possible, by just basically blowing smoke up Putin's ass, telling him how great he is, and at the same time being hard on Ukraine, so that at least from Russia's point of view, so you're Russia, you're looking at the United States and Ukraine having a discussion, and Trump is hammer fucking Zelensky and talking shit about Ukraine. Well, from Russia's perspective, that should be a signal, oh, he's not on their side, so I can come to the table and actually make a deal, and it won't just be fuck Russia, right? That's what I think Trump has been doing this entire time. And it's not been working at all. In fact, it's gotten worse. And like I said, it could be that it's just Trump thought he was so good at it that he could just meme it into existence, and that just didn't happen. Just me being very anti-Trump, but I can see that from that point a bit more clear too. Yeah, exactly. Like by all means, dude, if you don't like Trump, man, whatever, man. That's you are a person. You get to choose. Right? So I may not agree with your decision, but I can respect the fact that you have the ability to make your own. And it doesn't matter if you're anti-Trump. The only thing that I care about is at least honesty and dialogue. Right? Because there are a lot of people who are extremely bad actors on both teams, on every side of every discussion. And you see them all on Twitter. It's why it's such a disgusting cesspool, because all the shit-eating, crayon, putting up their bum fucking morons now, instead of being like shunned by society and off in a corner somewhere where they can barely fucking hold down a job and interact, now they're just all over the fucking internet everywhere, because the vast majority of idiots like this would never open their goddamn mouths in public and say these things, right? They would never say these things in public to people because they know it would not go well for them and they would be ostracized from society. But they do it on the internet, and it's okay. But yeah, I do like it's just like with the tariffs. It's just like with immigration. I hope that something comes out of it that's better than what it looks now. I do still have hope for that. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it's going to go well for Red Team if they don't get some kind of W in the future, because I think I'm okay with some of what Trump does, but I think he may have an ego and say things that get him in trouble. Of course he does. Then again, the left-wing media makes Trump generally look worse than he is. Yes, they do. And that's the thing, is half the time I think the reason he says shit like that is to stir the media up, so that, because think about it like this: the more you can get the media to lie about you, you think it's bad for the media to lie about you, that people will get the wrong impression. But think about it like this: why has trust in media gone down so much? Well, it's because we can all see they're lying. Right? We can all see it. We can all see it. And now that we can all see it, every time they lie, it destroys their credibility. Every time they lie about Trump, somebody who's anti-Trump sees that lie and goes, wait, they lied about that? That's not true? What else did they lie about? And then they go searching for it, and then they find it, and it's bad. It's bad. Is Trump, and that doesn't make Trump good, but it makes the media even worse. Because there's plenty of shit to criticize him on, but they can't stop doing this. This is my contention with Blue Team lately, is this shit. I'll show you in just a second. Oh, yeah. Wesley Snipes, baby. Oh, my God. There is only one blade. So good. So good. That, my friend, is how 9 million people went into ovens. Where's the other one? Where's the other one? I know it's here somewhere. I think I'm getting close. God, I can't remember. I cannot. Like, I like so much stupid shit so I could talk about it. I guess I don't have it anymore. Nope. This should be fairly close. But once you go that far, you can't come back. Right? There's no way to get back from that. I can't fucking find it. But it's essentially it was a piece of art where it was showing people walking into a train car, and obviously it's Jews walking into a train car in Nazi Germany, and then it shows people walking into a plane with ICE agents around them. So once you go, this individual is full Hitler. There's no place to go after that. You can't criticize them any more than that. And anybody who has fucking eyes can see that he's not fucking Hitler. That no, not only fascists arrest judges. The Kids for Cash scandal was centered on judicial kickbacks to judges at the blah, 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 blah in Pennsylvania. In 2008, judges such and such and such and such were convicted for accepting money in return for imposing harsh adjudications on juveniles to increase the occupancy of private prisons operated by PA Child Care. 2 judges were sentenced to 17.5 years and 28 years in federal prison. Yes, democracies arrest judges when they fucking commit crimes. I saw signs where it was like, oh, only fascists arrest judges. Only fascists arrest judges. It's like, bro, you are such a fucking idiot. I cannot believe you actually were able to reproduce. Of course, we all know that intelligence is not required for reproduction, as you see how many stupid animals reproduce, right? So... see, I think the Ukraine EU would be very happy if Trump put Putin in his place. I like a proper red light without giving up Crimea for NATO. I'm not gonna a red line. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I'm really hoping that's where Trump goes because that's where I want to go. The United States of America signed a goddamn treaty with Ukraine to guarantee its sovereignty, and Russia violated that treaty. By our treaty, we should be giving them all the fucking support to ensure their sovereignty. Period. End of story. All the bullshit about NATO expansionism doesn't fucking matter. It was like people get to choose, and if they don't fucking like you, that's fucking your problem. And when I'm talking about how a lot of people on Red Team will be like, oh, Russia felt antagonized because we kept moving NATO closer and closer to its border. And it's like, yeah, true. If you whack a wasp's nest, you better hope to get, you're going to get stung. That's why you don't whack it with a stick. That's why you spray it with fucking Raid. I mean, Nazis, as bad as they were, possibly weren't even the worst civilization. I mean, the Assyrians. Yeah. Who was it? Was it the Incas or the, I can't remember which civilization it was that would like rip out people's hearts to sacrifice them to God during like eclipses and shit. Yeah, like that shit was crazy, dude. The reason that the Nazis it's considered evil is 1, they're European, and 2, it was the first use of industrialization to do such a thing. Previously, in other civilizations, they did not use industrial mechanizations to do that. And that's one of the reasons why we see it as so bad. Really good watch. It's how Europe sees the USA. Yeah, Budapest Memorandum. It's a bit sad the USA doesn't follow that treaty. What was the point for nuclear? That's exactly why they should have. We like technically us supporting them is with money and arms if they're going to fight. It is abiding by the treaty. The problem is we're not abiding by the treaty in spirit. We're abiding by the word. So that's my problem with it. Because it's twofold. America's word means nothing if we don't do this. And 2, there's no reason that every single fucking state on the planet shouldn't have nuclear weapons. If the United States, if Pax Americana will not guarantee their sovereignty for them giving up their nuclear weapons, then what the fuck was the point? And so you have the fact that we gave our word, and the fact that you have So we gave our word, and on that fact, the entire time, it does feel like the Russian government and its head are absolutely just being utterly disrespectful to the United States and the treaty that we signed with them. And that's why I'm just so mad at what's going on with Ukraine. What I want is the United States of America to just give them everything, train them on how to use it, and have them fucking destroy the Russian army. Like, absolutely. Get Europe is already saying they're going to reinforce with troops. Let the Europeans guard the borders, right? Let the Europeans do all the logistics. Let them do all the other shit. Get as many war fighters on the front as you possibly can. Give them the best weapons we possibly can and the best intelligence we possibly can, and let them fucking have at it. That's what we should be doing. I mean, we should actually have like training camps over there where we're training them how to use all of these weapons. I know we do a little bit, but we're not doing it enough. Right? We're not. It really fucking bothers me. Because I also was against us giving them money at the beginning because I didn't know about the Budapest Accord, right? And because of that, I was just like, I have trauma from Iraq and Afghanistan. Not literally, I wasn't there. I was in the United States Navy on a submarine. What I mean is like the civilizational trauma of my generation, where we had to deal with the fallout of invading Iraq and invading Afghanistan and the absolute shit show that those two turned into. So now we just don't want to get involved in foreign entanglements. But this is a little bit different. This is not the United States government ginning up fucking bullshit so we go topple Saddam. This is literally Russia invading parts of Europe and violating a treaty that we signed with them in good faith. So fuck them, right? Like, seriously, fuck them. About Jesus' crucifixion is the time of how they punished big criminals back then. It's like how the electric chair was big in the mid-20th century. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I think I missed something there. No, I didn't. I know you're right, Tango, and I don't like Russia, and I don't want World War III. And yes, Zelensky did ask the U.S. to send their sons and daughters to fight and die for Ukraine, which is World War III. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure how out of pocket that sending people over there would be. I'm just saying, like we had a treaty. They violated a treaty with us. They didn't violate a treaty with Ukraine. They violated the treaty with us. They're just invading Ukraine. But that's the big issue, is that it's between two nuclear powers, right? But then my question comes to, are they really a nuclear power? Are they? Or they just say they are? How much money has Putin actually invested in his nuclear arsenal? Are we sure that they still have it? Does he think they still have it? Because he supposedly thought his army was fucking up to snuff, and it sure the fuck wasn't. Or do you think he actually put competent people in charge of his nuclear program instead of, cronies that are loyal that'll tell him what he wants to hear? That's the real rub, right? Is like, what is actually going on in Russia? Are they still actually a nuclear power, or are they a pseudo-nuclear power? Ukraine already has one of the best training militaries in the world. They're just asking for Patriot defenses. No. When I say training, I mean training them on the equipment itself, right? So, like, just because you're a trained fighter doesn't mean you know how to use a javelin fucking system, right? So you need to train all your soldiers to be able to use the system in and of itself, or use the communication devices, or use the drones, or all that other stuff. It's just the equipment itself. Some of it requires extensive training to use. As someone who is on a fucking nuclear submarine, I can 100% attest to, yes, you can train a monkey to fuck a football correctly, but it still requires a manual and it still requires oversight, okay? I'm just saying. Because we are monkeys and we do fuck footballs, and some of us are really fucking good at it. And we can train others to be just as good. The problem is Europe has been under Russian nuclear saber rattling for years. We know it's mostly empty threats. Well, yeah, because it would mean the vaporization of Russia as a civilization. The U.S. would probably survive, as would Europe. Would survive as civilizations, but I doubt Russia would. It would be devastating. It would be horrible, but we'd probably survive. USA sides with Russia and Musk delivers the rockets for it. That would be the end. Ugh. 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 That sounds horrible. And the fucked up thing about it is that Scott Adams used to say that Russia was our natural ally, and I kind of used to agree with him. And I, to be fair, I kind of still do, because we were in the space race together. If Putin wasn't such a fucking jackass and shithead, then it's entirely possible that we could ally with Russia against China and bring them into the fold on our side and basically have them in like a coalition for like space expansion, right? And isolate China. But of course, dictators being dictators, well, and they've been calling us imperial. Like, I love how the fact they've been calling us imperial shitheads for years, when the entire reason that Russia isn't a fucking dilapidated shithole is because the West fucking helped them. Well, I mean, we trained Afghanistans to use Stinger missiles back in the day. I know, right? It's definitely one of those things. This, for me as a European, that's the USA. What are you talking about? No. When I say the West, I mean Western civilization. That includes all of Europe and the United States and Canada and the rest of the Commonwealth, Australia, New Zealand. I think there's another one somewhere. I can't remember. But yeah, Greenland. Greenland's part of the Commonwealth. Or not part of the Commonwealth, part of the West. Iceland's part of the West, right? Western countries. Not India, yeah, not India. Basically, everything north of Africa and west of Russia. Even though parts of Russia could be considered westernized because of technological development. Like, imagine this. If you're back in the 1800s and you said the West, you know exactly what I mean. Because we're like one of the only places with actual fucking firearms, or the 17 to 1800s, we're the only place with fucking firearms, right? So it's kind of like that, right? South Africa, I think it did count, and still might. I don't know. But for me, I probably wouldn't consider it part of the West. And the main reason is because the West moved away from slavery and moved away from racial segregation. And it took them fucking forever, and they fought tooth and nail against it. And now they're suffering the fucking consequences of their retardation. In 2000, oh my God, that's fucking hilarious. Oh, in 2011, classified ICP as a group, and its group of fans, the Juggalos, as loosely organized hybrid gang. And the FBI releases declassified report on the Insane Clown Posse gang threat. Isn't that great? That's just fucking hilarious. I love that. So that means I'm part of a gang, guys, just in case you're wondering. There it is. Bango. I found it. Found it. This is it right here. Yeah, this is it right here. I present to you an idiot. Once you go this far, there's nowhere else to go. And I love how they use Project 2025 as if Trump hasn't disavowed this completely and all this other bullshit, right? And almost none of the shit that's in it, except for a few things, are being implemented in our government because they just happen to agree with Trump's platform. So, yep. Once you go here, there's nowhere else to go, dude. You've already called them Nazis. The next thing to do is to pick up guns and go kill the Nazis. That's what this means. This is a death threat. This is what's going on, right? You got to understand, when you go this far, this is what you're doing. And they just don't understand what's going on. This is why they're idiots, is because they don't realize, comparing them and being like, oh, we shouldn't do this, fascists do this kind of thing. But no. Especially with the judges thing. I think Mark Hamill did that one. That was great. So, yeah, Mark Hamill. We have arrived at the arresting judges phase of fascism. Yep. And you remember I just showed you about the two judges? Kids for Cash? Remember that? Why was this judge arrested? She intentionally misdirected federal agents. She allegedly intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her own courthouse, allowing the subject, an illegal alien, to evade arrest. And she either, I think they said she escorted them through the jury door or told them to go through the jury door so that they could like go out a back entrance away from the officers. Yeah, so obstruction is probably one of the things that is... Unfortunately, if a judge breaks the law, they too can get arrested. Just like if the president breaks the law, he too can get arrested. Right? Right. Yes, I know Mark Hamill is a dumbass. Yes, he is. We don't, like, you say Mark Hamill, it's literally dumbass in the dictionary. We don't need to go any further than that. Oh, you can curse. I don't give a fuck. I turn that shit off. There's just certain things you can't say because they're bannable by Twitch. I'm with the Ukrainian flag. I can't compromise. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I get you, man. I get you. And for me, I just wish, I do wish that we did more, because it's definitely becoming one of those things where, well, if they're just gonna like shit all over everybody and strut around like they're hot shit, then we need to make sure that they learn that they aren't hot shit. And I think we can do that. I really do.